Good morning. That camera too low? I guess that's okay. Saturday, April 18th. I'm going to go straight to an email starting with John Downey. John Downey, I think I saw that he's in chat. I'll get me a audio confirmation right over here first. And am I hearing? Oh, I've got that computer muted, so I'm not going to hear that there. But I see
DougBot said hi.
Yeah.
How you doing?
And there's speaker bot. So that should do it. And I saw Parker Morse has a comment in chat about something that he had happened. If you want to give us more detail about that, I'll be getting to that in a little bit. And there I actually have my audio confirmation. So John Downey and I had a very good conversation on Zoom since our last session together last week about his college course or courses in security, SIEM, and he's mentioned that a few times to us. And he sent me an email of what he accomplished since our conversation. Now, in response to our conversation about what he's gone through in school, let me make it clear that he is of similar age to myself and many others here. He's I'm pretty sure, it's retired from his main life career, and he had the opportunity to go to the security training through the college, and he did so. And my takeaway from my conversation with him is he similarly, like me, feels like he's drinking from a fire hose when he goes into these educational environments about security. And he has a very graciously offered to come on to the show and have a conversation on this subject. At the moment, I'm bewildered of how to pursue that because I need something that gives me something actionable that I can do with my clients. And at this point, without having to go as deep into it as he is, and he's not actually quite at a point where he's got specific action for small businesses. And I'm not sure if we're quite there yet in the industry, but I want to show you this one screenshot that he sent me where he got this software called Wazoo, W-A-Z-U-H. I got to be careful about what I show here because his phone number is very prominent here, and I don't want to display that. He's got this set up on a virtual box on his PC, and he mentions that all of these tools are Linux applications, and that's the first
Read chat, please.
barrier to entry for me because I see that, Greg M. We'll get to that in a bit. So to have to set up Linux to be able to implement this level of security, I'm thinking, why? Why does that have to be Linux? Can't that be in the Windows environment? Maybe that'll come along later. Maybe some of you already know the answer to that. But anyway, here's what he's got this operational in a I think a test network in his own home where he's got agents summary. So he's got one active agent on one of the computers on his network. During the last 24 hours prior to this screenshot, it shows 446 medium severity items, and those are based upon
Read chat, please.
the rules in the system. And he says all this is written in Linux. Yeah, okay, so why not Windows? Does it have to be Linux? I don't see a reason why it can't be Windows. Low severity 0 to 6, 680 items, nothing high severity, nothing critical severity. Of course, that's one computer in his environment. Endpoint security section of things here, threat intelligence section of things, security operations, cloud security. Basically, what this is a way for a IT support within any environment. Currently, I'd say this is mostly done in the enterprise environment,
Read chat please.
where you can monitor what's going on in your network and get ahead of things that might become problems. That last read chat, Selden Ball, can they run under WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux? Now John's running this currently on a virtual box. So in VirtualBox, I assume he's running a Linux operating system and then being able to run these tools. Just seems like a lot of hurdles to go through. I can't imagine why this stuff can't be written to run under Windows. So it's easier to implement for a person in my position supporting lots of small businesses to have to set up a virtual box or something comparable, and then Linux, and then these tools, and put agents in all these computers. It seems like there's just more steps, more hurdles than there needs to be. So I'm anticipating things will move along. My position at this point is to be aware and increasing my level of awareness regarding these security issues. They are not currently solving a pain point. I do not have a pain point with my clients at this point where I need something like this, but I suspect it's probably going to evolve that way. More likely yes than not. I see Parker Morse's comment there, so we'll get onto that when we move to that topic. So then I'm going to move on to another email. There's a few things here that I'm going to cover fairly quickly. In my kind of restated focus on trying to be have dense content that is useful to IT pros working in similar environments to me, because that's really who I want to get attracted to this channel in much greater numbers than we currently have. So here I got this email. This is worth spreading to the entire community. And yes, I can show this. Came to me saying a better email experience is waiting for you. Is Jim here? I don't know if I haven't noticed Jim in the chat. He might still be out to lunch. A better email experience. This is from Comcast. We're inviting you to upgrade your Comcast email account to Yahoo Mail. Oh my God, are you kidding me right now? A better email experience at no extra cost, mind you. Your email address stays the same in your messages, folders, and contacts too. All of the stuff that you've seen us going through about people complaining about Yahoo email interfaces because their SBC Global was taken over by Yahoo. PacBail.net email addresses are managed now but through Yahoo. Comcast is drinking the Kool-Aid. They're going that way too. Oh, please tell me it's not so. Then here's the next email I got from them. Let's see, this one was, this was 9:01 a.m. on Wednesday and then 12:08 p.m. on Wednesday. Enjoy a better email experience with Yahoo Mail. Last month, we invited you to upgrade your Comcast Net email account to Yahoo Mail. It's a better experience. Bullshit. Oops. At no extra cost. They're bragging about no extra cost. Yeah. To get started, sign into your email. Follow the prompts to accept Yahoo terms of service. It's quick and easy, secure. What stays the same, your email address. Now, I had got to I was signing into my Comcast account for some unrelated reason, and I got hit with this prompt, and I wanted, no, I don't want this. I actually asked the AI, if I click this X button to close this window, is that going to keep me from getting upgraded to the Yahoo? I do not want to get upgraded to the Yahoo. Oh my gosh, no. Say it isn't so. Yeah, that's my specific Comcast.net account. I never look at that email. Don't send anything there. Yeah, I don't use that Comcast, but the thing that I'm worried about is my clients who do have Comcast email accounts. They're going to be calling about this. I'm going to be telling them, decline it. Don't do it. I've already told a couple of them that. This is all about Comcast not wanting to host not wanting to manage email interfaces anymore because that's an expensive thing to do. So they're all wanting to I'm going to say that more and more of them are going to want to pawn that off onto Yahoo because Yahoo loves it. They get to do all their advertisement crap. Oh, Doug, your mouth today. Jiminy Christmas. Okay, then moving on, Sam Lazard. I neglected last week to talk about his email following up on an issue from even the previous week. So this issue has been over a few weeks of my shows, but I didn't mention anything about it last week. So let me figure out here. He had brought up an issue about a client of his. I'm scrolling down for more of the conversation here. Let's see. This is regarding a client that was making a move. He was assisting the client. Oh yeah, going from the his old email service and moving to Microsoft 365. And we had some conversations around that subject. I Phil is saying when Verizon dropped email hosting, changed to AOL, the change was pretty much seamless. Yeah, the change, the conversion is not a problem. It's the email interface of Yahoo that people hate so much. So Verizon going to AOL, I don't know what that email interface was like. Then let's see. There was the part about the Outlook on his laptop and what to use on the mobile. Sam is in favor of using the native Samsung contacts and calendar and Gmail app. So we had a little bit of back and forth and conversation, and I gave him an AI conversation that I
read chat, please.
Came up with regarding that, but I want to come back to our last piece. Okay, I see that, Parker. We'll get to that later. And here is my comment from last week, and I have not prepared this for reading to you, so this may be a little bit clunky, but I sent an email to him after last week's show because I'm going to get these read chat. I'm very close to having these read chats fixed. I saw your ticket email today. This is me sending an email to Sam. He does these trouble tickets every time he brings up a topic with me. And after the show last week, I saw his closing of the ticket and realized that I neglected to respond during yesterday's show. Okay, it was Sunday, not Saturday. To your last email because I thought it was a topic worth speaking during the show. I concur. I also like using the native apps on the smartphones, but I have found problems doing that with Microsoft accounts and on some occasions have bailed to the Outlook app. So when I try to configure the native app on an iPhone or an Android phone, sometimes I've found that difficult, and there's one glitch where I think it's on iPhones particularly, where it says that it failed, but then when you go back and look at the actual email, it starts working, even though it claims to have failed. When someone is only needing the email on the phone, the native app for iPhone and Android usually works for me, although with the iPhone in particular, it often gives an error message at the time of authentication indicating that it failed. But then when you go check the mail, you find that it worked. When you check the native email app, you find that it worked. And the emails are coming in and you can send and receive. If they need contacts or calendar from that Microsoft 365 account, I have not found a native way for that to work. You have to use some kind of extra tweak to get Microsoft Calendar contacts to integrate with the native apps. So I just go with that Outlook Mobile as an easy solution, and it has. And clients have been happy with it, which is native to the Microsoft environment, even if it's not native to the phone. If you can find a reasonable way to test the configuration. Now, here's a key point. I find this really useful, and I've done it many times. To test the configuration on your own devices before you do it on site with a client, I would highly recommend that. Now, you can only do that with a client who is so thoroughly comfortable with you being able to see their email. When it's their business email, that's far more common than their personal email. So a lot of people get real skittish when I talk about configuring a client's email account on my own equipment. Well, keep in mind, this is business email account, not personal email account. It'd be very rare to have somebody comfortable with that. But I always get authorization before I do that kind of test. But I found that very useful because I have far more capabilities and control when I'm doing it specifically here with my own equipment. And I've been able to solve issues. And it's kind of common for that I don't charge all of the time that I might spend on that. When it's something that I know I'm going to be able to use again. Now, let me go see what else I have in here because I think there's something else worth mention. No, that's enough. There is some of the back and forth that I haven't gone through all of it with you. I'll leave that between Sam and me. It's may or may not be useful content, but really I've given you the pieces that I think is worthy of, getting out there on the table to other technicians that might be involved with this. Okay, so then, here's an email. I got this email. I have been authorized. What? Oh, I have been authorized by Intuit, the makers of QuickBooks Online, to bill my clients up to $300,000 in any one 30-day cycle. That's going to be really nice for my budget. They've increased my payment processing limit. Effective immediately, you'll now be able to process payments up to $300,000 rolling 30-day cycle. Could it be that they've heard me criticizing QuickBooks Online and they think they're doing me a kindness, a service by increasing my limit? Oh, holy moly. Money. All about the money. Okay, so there's been some things in chat on technical topics. Let's go take a look at those. I do want to go give you an overview of my time slips. I've been doing my time slips on a weekly basis. And my AI activity. John Williams, somebody finally mentioned the flowers. I think this is the third show that I put flowers from my front yard out on the desk. And I think that's the first mention that I've seen of that. So, John, I'm going to give you, I'm going to throw you some points there for noticing. I might be wrong about that. Somebody else might have made a mention, but sorry, that's the first one I noticed. So I guess I should pay attention to the oranges, although I think that the technical topics that somebody put in here, they did not do an orange. Oh, yeah, here's the first one with Greg M. You know what? I don't have the before show messages there. I think I better go take a look at Baby Beast. Because I think there were technical topics before showtime. So let's make that bigger, and then let's bring that over onto here. I've brought my keyboard and mouse from Baby Beast over. Okay. Oh no, it's only 11:02. I lost the before show. Oh, I know why. The before show chat doesn't show up when I pop out chat, but I think it's still over here. Scroll that one, and then scroll this one. I better pause that video or we're going to be seeing real distractive things. Kent's out last night first, and there's Robert and William, and then Darren, and then Isaiah, Arnold. These are all before show. Let's see. And there's Parker. And Parker had a unique issue the other day and solved it by calling the company that makes a software that I have to use to see the computer screen. When I first took a glance at that earlier in the show, you know, this is just bothering me. I'm going to move this back to there, because just seeing that doubled like text on both sides is bugging me. When I saw that, I was thinking he meant remote, see the screen remote, but no, that wouldn't be it. Let's see if I can get more about Parker's stuff. Whoops, I can't see all of his stuff because I'm signed in with the wrong account there. So I gotta go switch account. I have that signed into my Ken the Stout account because I was doing some testing of systems. Go back and pause that again. Oh, I hope I didn't just lose the before. Oh, I did just lose the before stuff. Okay. If I do, oh, doggone it. Parker. Oh, Gemini. He's got a Gemini link. You know what? I could do that on Big Beast. That was that after show start? Yeah, it was. Okay, we'll use that to see his whole topic. Oh, look at this. Surprise, surprise. When I go look at his channel history, it does show his before showtime comments, right? Is that what that is? Yeah, it is. Yeah, all right. That's surprising. Had a unique issue the other day, solved it by calling the company that makes the software to use to see the computer screen, the Gemini link. The problem that this fixes is the screen shade coming up automatically on you don't have it set to Fusion software for visually impaired. Oh yeah, I think Parker's told us before that he is visually impaired. And I think using maybe a really big screen. Okay, here's a Gemini analyzing a picture that I took. So I need to take that off screen when I click on that. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good. Okay. Fusion and Windows Update comparison. So this is from his Gemini chat. And he put in a picture here. Now that's not a screen that it's giving us a picture of. I'm not sure at the moment. Looks like it's his note, handwritten notes for what to do. It's got some numbers for KB articles or updates. Let's do this over on this screen. Open projector view there. Analyze what's on the journal paper in this photo and enumerate the difference. This is what he's asking Gemini to do. Enumerate the difference between Fusion Update and Microsoft Windows Updates. Also memory entitled that hotkey as a hotkey. This is a really good, thank you for pointing this out. I've done this many times. Take a picture of something where it's handwritten text, and Gemini can not only read it, but it can translate it. It can give you the text version. I did a demonstration of a client this last week where they had a PDF file that one of the employees scanned of a whole bunch of handwritten tickets that their staff uses when they're servicing their customers. Handwritten tickets gives the customer's name and what work was done, I think address and phone number information. One person scans all these into a PDF file. Another person enters those into their customer relations management software, CRM. I think I said those initials wrong, but or the words wrong. But anyway, so I showed them that AI can just convert all those to text for you, so you don't have to read them and type them out. So here, Parker is demonstrating that for us. Make sure the enumeration that talks about the hotkey is Shift plus Control plus Windows key plus Alt ZT out, and in regards to the Fusion update, make sure you enumerate that it is the Fusion update as is the title, don't worry about his typos and my reados. Hotkey to zoom out with this issue. You don't have to go back and correct that. AI will figure out you meant hotkey to zoom out with this issue if a person is using Zoom, text, or Fusion. Shift, Control, Win, Alt, Z. I might not always figure out what he meant, but the AI will, usually. Fusion software update My Freedom Scientific. This software helps visually impaired see computer screens that fixes this problem. Missing a space does not matter. Based on the image provided, here's an analysis of the handwritten notes and enumeration of the differences between Microsoft Windows updates and the Fusion software update, including the requested hotkey details. Analysis of journal notes. The notebook contains technical references used for troubleshooting, updating a computer system, likely one used by a person with visual impairments. Windows updates 3 specific KB knowledge numbers, such and such. Hotkey command. Shift, Control, Win, Alt, Z, tout, zoom out. Yeah, I'm not. I think the AI here is just reiterating what he said. I don't have a tout key on my computer. And Fusion update. So this was the analysis, enumeration of differences. Microsoft Windows updates. These updates are cumulative system patches released by Microsoft to improve security and functionality. Gives a description of each of these patches and what they do. Fusion update, and gives the information about that Fusion update and the purpose. Designed to help visually impaired individuals see navigate computer screens, unlike Windows updates, which changes the bones of the computer. This update fixes accessibility specific issues. The hotkey. The memory entitled hotkey listed in the notes is specifically command used to manage magnification levels. And Alt T, Z, T, I wonder if it's a T function. This hotkey is used to zoom out. Z, tout, still with that TOUT. Maybe that is somehow the word. This shortcut is critical for users who need to quickly reset their field of vision or decrease magnification if the screen becomes too zoomed into to navigate effectively. Some more information about all of this. And so he has told us, I think, that the issue was resolved by calling the company that makes the software. So, Parker, am I understanding that the issue got solved by calling the company, so your time spent with Gemini did not solve it, or maybe your time was spent with Gemini was after talking to the company? I'm not quite clear there. Is it your point that Gemini did not get you the solution and the company solved it for you? Or, but at any rate, you've given us a really good application example here of Gemini. So thank you for that. I consider that to be a very, very valuable thing for you to have given us on this channel. So let's go do this. see, I think it, how's your name start here? Where are you? 11. Parker Morris. At Park. Yeah, so this probably means you haven't chatted in the last 5 minutes. But I can still award you points. Well done. Thank you. Greg, oh my God, Comcast. Oops. Petra likes my leather jacket. Thank you. Now, where was I at? I lost my pre-show chat messages. I don't think there was any other tech questions. And let me see if my new chat screen is functional at this point. Yeah, I don't quite like that. I've been telling you that I'm working on a new infrastructure, and this is just a first version of the chat. And I need for it to eliminate the DougBot stuff. I need for it to have the timestamps, but it gives me an ability to go up and down, even if I don't have this screen in focused right now. So at the moment, I'm not feeling this is developed far enough for me to use that. Let's go back to this version of chat. Greg M. Help desk people fixed the permanent safe mode problem if I rebooted a remote computer into safe mode. I have no idea how long this bug was work around, but it took them 2 weeks to fix the issue. So Greg M, help desk people, I think Greg M, you are an IT pro, I think, if I'm remembering right.
Read chat, please.
Let's see what that one is. All right, this piece got to get fixed too. Oh, okay, he's giving me something better. I'm gonna jump over to that and then come back here to Greg M, since I haven't really got started on that yet. He's clarifying. Z-Tout, is I guess the name of it. I solved it when the company the other day, Gemini, was to make it easier for you to read my handwriting. All right, you think that that's a very clear statement, but it's not clear to me what you mean. I solved it when the company the other day, Gemini, was to make it easier for the reason he did Gemini was to help me understand the issue. Oh, got it, understood. Okay, I got you there. He says he solved it with the company's help. Based upon this comment and what he previously said, he solved it by calling the company. The reason he used Gemini was to make it easier for me to read his handwriting and actually understand the whole thing. Yeah, so well done. Well done. And thank you for that clarification. Just for that, I'm going to throw you some more points. Get over it. All right, now back to where I was. Oh, you know what? I don't have the highlighter anymore since I clicked somewhere else in here, but here's Greg's comment. Triple click. Escape to get rid of that stupid menu that shows up, and then a red dot. I wonder if he has others comment in there. So let's go look at all of his comments today. No, that was his first comment. Unless he made a comment before but that should show up in here too. Help desk people fix the permanent safe mode problem. So his computer, I think every time he restarted it was coming up into safe mode. If one rebooted, I read that earlier, it said I rebooted. I assumed it was a typo. If one rebooted a remote computer into safe mode. Oh, if he's connected, maybe it's that he's connected. Yeah, because I thought he was an IT pro. So he's connected remotely to a computer and he reboots the computer into safe mode. Hey, I remember him telling us about this, that it would keep rebooting into safe mode. He couldn't get it back into normal mode. He says, I have no idea how long this bug was around, but it took them 2 weeks to fix the issue. Well, I had a bug with my remote software that caused kind of a similar concept, meaning something that just kept coming up. And I think I've told you a little bit about it in the past, where I've had some clients report that they restart their computer, then they have the DougBetts remote.
Read chat, please.
Calling card open infinite instances when they restart their computer. Well, I did more work on it this last week and found that it was still an actively pursued issue with LogMe and Rescue, but they did have the new calling card fixed. So now I know that I can uninstall the new calling card and uninstall the old calling card and install the new calling card, which I changed the name of it. Instead of DougBetts Remote, it's now called DougBetts V26 Remote. And that prevents a computer from running into that problem in the future. So now every time I touch a computer, I am routinely uninstalling the old calling card. If it's there, it's very quick and easy to do. And then installing the new calling card, which is very quick and easy to do. So I'm reasonably satisfied with that. Let's see, that last read chat was what?
Read chat, please.
I thought there was two. Oh, maybe Parker did a read chat, then retracted it. I think that's what happened. So we'll come to that in a moment, but I think, yeah. So Greg M helped us fix that problem. Now, what remote software are you using, Greg? I have no idea how long the bug was around, but it took them 2 weeks to fix the issue. Yeah, that's a real nuisance when you're on it, got an active issue that the company has to fix and not much you can do about it. I think what you could do in the interim is figure out the most effective, and AI can help you with this, I promise. Figure out the most effective way to talk somebody through a fix over the phone. Although I think his remote connections are within the same building. So he can just go over there and do it in person instead of having to talk them through it. Of course, he makes the clarification. It's not really a help desk, is it? It's a hell desk, as he types. All right, come back here. And Parker was given a clarification. The first ZT in the shortcut key or hotkey stands for Zoom text. Okay. Zoom text, I think, isn't that what Josh Kinder is using as well? Got it. Thank you for that. Did we get a follow-up from Greg M about what remote software he's using? I don't think that's here yet. Kind of delaying a little bit, looking for that. All right. Let's see. whatever. I'm going to take that off screen while I find my place. Let's see, I was just looking at other responses by Greg M. Security experts use Linux. They prefer it for getting down in the trenches. Yeah, I understand that. That's useless for me. That's useless for the IT pro who is managing multiple different small businesses. To have, maybe I could carry a Linux box around with me if I'm really doing deep invest. I never do that. I don't have a pain point strong enough to bother with that. But that does give an explanation why all these tools are built for Linux, because the security people are entrenched in Linux. For this to be able to get into the small business support world, we need some tools developed to work under Windows. I think eventually it will happen, but right now there's not enough pain points in small business to need that. Now, I was trying to get the rest of Greg M's comments here to see if he's given me anything else. He says, oh my God, Comcast. And then last one, nope, that's somebody else. John Downey responding to Greg, most of the security tools are based on Linux. And that makes sense because Linux has capabilities of doing more things at a lower level than Windows does, and eliminate the vulnerabilities of Windows. So I understand why the tools are all currently existing for Linux. For me to start doing more of that proactive security work for my clients, I need Windows tools. However, we're not really there yet. There is a lot in the Windows environment that I still have available to do that is not done yet. We're not even trying to do yet because there's not enough of a pain point for my clients.
Read chat, please.
If we're not at the level of having private secure passwords yet, and the encryption that Windows has available, password managers for the office staff, we're not even at that point yet. It's not there because small business hasn't encountered enough pain yet. As they more and more become a target of the ever-increasing criminal world that is trying to infiltrate them, then I see that developing more. Let's see. John says the screenshot, that last read chat, John saying the screenshot I sent you is from Chrome running on my PC. Let's see the screenshot. So I'm not remembering what that was. Have I not seen it yet? I'm checking. Oh, no, the screenshot he sent. That was what I started out with about the security things. And he says the screenshot he sent was from Chrome running on his PC. So let me go refresh about that. The screenshot was from Chrome running on his PC. Yeah, but the tool was running on Linux, wasn't it? Yeah, he said, let's see, can I arrange this a little bit? Yeah, there, I've got it arranged a little bit to conceal his phone number. Here's his email message. Says, I got Wazoo up and running. I installed the Wazoo OVA file in my VirtualBox on my PC. Okay, that's, I think, well, let me continue. Wazoo and other SIEMs are Linux applications. I installed the Wazoo agent on the PC. Okay, the agent is on his PC. Yeah, but you have to have a Linux box there and deal with it to accomplish this. Then Chrome, the screenshot below, connects to Wazoo's virtual machine, which it's a virtual machine. Wazoo is running on a Linux that is running in a virtual machine. If I'm understanding this right, I am now logging data. It was not too difficult to get it running after loading into a virtual machine. Yeah, but you got to deal with virtual machine. You got to deal with Linux. That's just adding elements that don't need to be there. I understand why they are now they're there now, but it's just too many hurdles to jump through to be justifiable at this point. If next week there's a massive influx of infections hitting small businesses, and the way to remediate them is to go out there with a Linux box or Linux running in a virtual box on a Windows computer. Now, in that case, I'm not going to be able to do that on these low-end B-Link computers on somebody else's workstation. I could take one of the old computers that have been replaced by a B-Link computer that are not Windows 11 capable and put Linux on
Read chat,
them
please.
and make them run this, but I've got to come up to speed with that. I have installed Linux, yes, but it's not native to me. I have to go research it and get back up to speed and do all of that. And let's see. Ran Israel saying, I think he
Read
means
chat, please.
I think he means the Wazoo machine comes pre-installed and just needs to be imported into VBox. So maybe Wazoo is a machine of its own. You can run Wazoo in Synology. Okay, so on a Synology NAS, there's that would mean there's a plugin or an app, I think they call it, for Wazoo. So if you have a Synology NAS on a network, you could run Wazoo. Okay, that's better. That's one step better, except I only have Synology NAS in one office. That could be an entry point that I might do, because that's the office that I would most be interested in doing that. And then the other question is the VBox for John Downey, if you could clarify, is Wazoo actually its own virtual machine, or do you have to install Linux on a virtual machine and then run Wazoo? So that would be a useful thing for you to
read chat, please.
Clarify.
Read chat, please.
Hello, Jim. Comcast moving you to Yahoo. Yeah, I expected that. He might be in DVR mode, or he might be with us live. I don't know. So let's go look at this documentation. That may clarify something there. Wazoo virtual machine. Wazoo provides a pre-built virtual machine. So you do not need to do Linux on a virtual machine and then Wazoo. Open virtual appliance. So I think John assumed, I know he used the OVA acronym. I think he must have assumed that I understood what OVA is. No, I do not. I do not work with that with my clients. I would not know that acronym. That's a kind of acronym you need to clarify for me. And I'm not sure it's quite enough to say open virtual appliance without me pausing to think about that. So this is implying here to people who know and understand what open virtual appliance means. What I'm thinking you're saying is that this is a full virtual machine that actually can run in a VirtualBox environment as an operating system. So you don't need Windows underneath it as the operating system. You don't need Linux underneath it as an operating system. It is an operating system. So does that also mean that it can be installed directly on bare metal hardware as an operating system? I don't think so. I think you would have to be running it in a VirtualBox or comparable environment.
No way.
Okay, you said no. I just said, do you want to turn left or right? And you said no. Yeah, when you did the exclamation mark and, you were probably responding to what I said at that moment. But I don't know what you were saying no to. Unless you clarified that, I'll go look at the chat message. Rand says no. Yeah, so I said it could be this way or that way, and you said no. I don't know what you meant. Includes the Amazon Linux 2023 operating system and the Wazoo central components. See, if it's an operating Linux, Amazon Linux operating system, I did not know that was another flavor of Linux. All of you who are literate with Linux, you're thinking, oh my God, he didn't know that. No, I don't need to know Linux in what I do for a living. Wazoo manager, such and such,
Read
file
chat,
B,
please.
Wazoo indexer, Wazoo dashboard, and the central component. I guess these are the central components. You can import Wazoo virtual machine into VirtualBox or other OVA compatible virtualized systems. So that tells it right there, not bare metal. It has to be into an OVA compatible virtualized system. This VM only runs on 64-bit systems with Intel or AMD architecture, does not provide high availability or scalability out of the box. However, you can implement these using distributed deployment. No, Douglas, you cannot install Wazoo on bare metal computer. See, that would have made it one level more palatable. All right, I have enough understanding of Wazoo at this point. It's not something for me to immediately work with. Up your Wazoo. All right, Jim, I have not done this for a while. I think this means that he is live with us. There's a LOL button, is 500 points. That was a good one. I will give you that. All right. Oh, there's a, somehow I knew that the read chat came through that I didn't see. Jim is here and having a seizure about Comcrat moving to Yahoo. Oh, I did read that. I just didn't realize that was a exclamation mark C. Okay. Now, I think that I have caught all of the exclamation mark C's. I'm going to take a quick run through it, and then I'm going to give you my time slips report. Might be briefer than I've done in the past. Let's see, got that one there, got that, that, fix the shade screen. Close enough on that one. Got that one. Got that one. Yeah, quick clicking through them. I think I've covered them all. So I'll give a quick time slips report. And the reason why I do this is because I would have loved to have this coming from some other IT pro when I was earlier in my career. I'd still love to see this today. I'd love to see somebody else sharing this kind of information about the work that they're actually doing, and how it's working out. How's that doing? How's that working out for you? Now, my business, I've allowed it to slow down. I'm older than I used to be. Like, nobody else is burdened with that situation, are you? Is anyone else older than they used to be? So I'm looking at this last week's timesheet. So I have had times in the past in my career when My goal, my target every week was try to hit 40 hours billable time in a week. To do that, you're going to work 60, 70 hours because there's a lot of work that is not billable. So this week, without having recorded this morning's time yet, is 12 hours and 32 minutes. And a large part of that was not because I didn't have work to do, but because I chose to work on some infrastructure projects and some other projects around my house. And I don't need to work as much. So Sunday, there was 9 minutes for, let's see, this client, phone and remote support to connect remote to office computer. Oh, my client called me on Sunday. She couldn't connect to her remotely to her office computer. My clients know that they can call me outside of normal hours. I do not charge extra for that. That is my choice. I want them to be able to call me anytime. And I can do that because I live alone. I don't have somebody that I have to report to or that says, oh, you always work. No, I don't have that. So I can do this, and it distinguishes me from the competition, makes my clients very happy. They connect remotely, in this case on Sunday, to do some work. This particular client, her husband has a serious medical condition. She's missing a lot of work hours, can't go into the office, and so she needs to grab time to work whenever she can. So
Read
she
chat,
wasn't able to
please.
connect remotely. So it was really, really a happy day for her that she got through to me. And in 9 minutes of billable time, I was able to solve her problem. John Downey says he bills in 15-minute increments, and then he retracted that. Sorry, I caught you. I caught you saying that. You pulled that away. Wait a minute, I don't want to say that. Yeah, I charge specifically the amount of time. That way if it's a quick, simple fix, they get charged for a small amount of time. I could use the theory of charging for the value that it provided. I choose not to do that. I don't argue against that for anybody. I choose not to do that because I don't want them to be thinking, oh, this might be a really easy, quick thing. So I'm going to take more time. I'm going to stress more time myself, my client saying this, before I call them because I'm going to feel really bad if it's just a quick little fix that I should have thought of. If I restart the computer and that solves it, they got 3 or 4 minutes billable. And I bill it to them to show them my value. I haven't even finished reading this yet. Phone and remote support to connect remote to office computer from laptop. Problem appears to have been caused by a stuck shift key on the laptop. How about that? Were you going to guess that one? Stuck shift key on the laptop and a recently modified personal key due to increased security requirement from remote PC. Yeah, this person is using the master account for remote PC. Her account, I was forced to give it a more complex password than what it had. So she didn't have that, but that's not the point she was getting stuck at. She was getting stuck at the point of entering her password on her office computer. She got all the way to that point. She got past the master password level and her password wasn't working. Well, it's because the shift key on her keyboard, on her laptop, was stuck. So and how do we know that? Well, we click the eyeball to show the password that was actually being typed. She didn't think to do that because she's so accustomed to typing her password. Quick, simple fix. 9 minutes because I also did the extra step of fixing the master account password on her computer because I knew that was going to become a problem. On Monday, 36 minutes. Adjustments to new printer configuration for the copy machine. Created 2 separate icons, one for black and white and one for color, in lieu of the manufacturer's default method of selecting color versus black and white at the time of sending a print job. Adjusted both printer drivers to print single-sided and prompt for accounting codes. So this client had in a previous time slip, I had uninstalled the old printer driver for the copy machine because when the copier company came in and installed a new machine, they did not go around to the computers and update the driver that was on the computers. So this person, when they printed a JPEG image, they were getting garbage at the copy machine. It wasn't working. So I uninstalled the old driver, installed the new driver. Well, I was under time crunch when I installed the new drivers, so I just installed it default. And what she was used to, when she chooses which printer to send to, is a separate printer icon for black and white or for color. The printer driver does not install that way. Many, many years ago, I set that up for them, and I didn't remember how I go about doing that. So I asked Gemini, how do I do this? Gemini gave me a quick, easy solution to it. And that was, let's see, that was part of that 36 minutes. And then also adjusted the drivers to print single-sided because they default to printing on both sides of the paper. So you didn't want that, of course. And they use job accounting codes. So there's a place to make that adjustment. Then on Monday, 37 minutes. For a bookkeeper, installed new computer on the network in preparation for in-office configurations. This was a B-Link computer that I had here on my desk last week during the show. Documented current computer 2025 and 2026 utilization records, configured peripherals, installed loaner Ethernet splitter device to aid in migration. Now this computer, you know that I've done a lot of image backups and then restore that image to the new B-Link computer. I did not do that this time around because the old computer was reported as having some issues. It wasn't running perfectly. Also, the hard drive was very full on it. Also, the computer has migrated through multiple different users over recent years. Also, there were 3 separate user accounts on the computer. Currently, they're only using one of those user accounts. Also, the old computer was already Windows 11. It was an 8th gen Windows 11. I told my client, you don't have to upgrade this computer. It's already Windows 11. But they have been so happy with these low-end B-Link computers. They said, yes, we want one of these new B-Link computers at this desk instead of dealing with the issues of this 8th gen Windows 11 computer. I'm not saying it's Windows 11 capable. I'm saying it had Windows 11 on it, operational, has been operational since they became a client, before they became a client for me. They have only had this client about 6 months. So anyway, that was, I physically installed it out there, put it on the network, coexisting with the original computer, so I could connect remotely to both of them to do some of the in-office configurations, but I wanted to do those remotely. Then also on Wednesday, there's now I'm not Wednesday, Monday. I'm still on Monday. How much? I'm going into these too much detail. There was another 30 minutes for that same computer connected remotely on Monday. Then on Tuesday, 25 minutes. Oh, this was text and photo support. This was not even phone support. This was text interaction and, oh, wait a minute, no. Text, photo, no, take a breath, Doug. Text, phone, and photo support, not remote support. 8:05 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. regarding, laptop fails to turn on after she shut it down after a 7-page document scan produced a message, there is not enough free space on the hard disk for the operation. Increase the amount of disk space available. Attempts to start the computer via phone instructions resulted in time of day not set. And it went into BIOS setup, would not boot from the hard drive. Automatic Dell diagnostics, this was a Dell laptop, produced a message, your device ran into a problem and could not be repaired. Click or press enter to see other recovery options. Couldn't connect to the network and it gave the address of a log file, determined lab work needed. I'm reading to you directly from the time slip that will show up on our invoice. That was on Tuesday, 8:05 to 8:30 a.m. My next time slip entry is 9:26 a.m. Picked up Dell Latitude laptop computer for lab work. That was a 10-minute on-site. She gets billed for that. Then next time slip for the same person on the same day, 9:56 a.m. to 11:44 a.m. lab work. Documented and reviewed plan with AI diagnostic tool. How do you like that terminology? I tell them I'm using AI. I'm using an AI diagnostic tool. What makes Gemini an AI diagnostic tool instead of just AI? Well, it's because I give the AI some context prompts. I have some context prompts stored in a couple different ways so that the AI is working from a context-aware situation that makes it particularly capable for technical troubleshooting. I'm also using a paid version, which gives extra capability. So I'm not calling it Gemini because they know they've heard of AI. So I'm saying it's an AI diagnostic tool. I like that terminology. Diagnosed and corrected a non-boot condition caused by a critically full C drive. Now, could I have diagnosed this without AI? Of course. But the AI does catch some things that I didn't think of right then because I got a lot of things flowing in and out of my brain. And I find it really, really useful. It also keeps track of what I've done because I might get interrupted and forgot what did I do. And looking back in the chat, I can see what I did. And it's very quick and easy to use. But you got not only have to train the AI, you got to train yourself for using the AI. The AI is a skill. When smartphones came out, people got a smartphone. They couldn't do very much with it that was very smart until they learned how to use it. It's a tool. You have to learn how to use it if you expect to make anything useful out of it whatsoever. Corrected a non-boot connection caused by critically full C drive. It was full. And a subsequent BIOS configuration reset. Booted into a recovery environment to verify drive integrity and initiated full system image backup prior to clearing space. So I booted into Macro Reflect on a flash drive. That validated that the drive is full. Do an image backup and then clear out some space. And included on that time slip is the last phrase, reported status by phone. I got to that point where I was able to verify what's going on and be able to tell her that your data's fine, your computer's fine, this is going to be fixed, and I'm probably going to have it back to you by the end of the day. I called her back as soon as I had that information to put her mind at ease. That is a client satisfaction step. Good, frequent, prompt communications. When I was heading out to her house, I sent her a text with my ETA. I use a GPS on my phone. It tells me when I'm going to arrive. I gave her that specific ETA. I show up exactly on time. That is something that will impress your client every time. You don't have to tell them 3 hours ahead of time what time you're going to be there. You could tell them a range, but when you're headed over there, send them a text message with a very specific ETA. Quick and simple to do. It's amazing the impact it makes on clients. The next time slip for a different client on Tuesday, 12:49 to 1:52. Phone and remote support to compress a large PDF pleading using a compression utility so it could be emailed without rejection due to size. Successfully reduced the size from 34 megabytes to 14 megabytes. Examine procedures finding the cause of the large file size is that the current procedure for creating these PDF files involves printing. Sit down for this. If you're not paying attention, start listening right now, because this is the part that's going to blow some of your socks off. Their current procedure for creating this 92-page PDF that they're going to try to email to somebody that wound up being 34 megabytes in size. Their current procedures is to print all 92 pages in order to add a cover sheet at the beginning of the document. And then they put that entire stack of 93 pages back into the copy machine and scan all of that. The only change they've made is to put the cover sheet at the beginning, resulting in 34 megabytes in size. The original PDF that they contained, the 92 pages that they printed, the size of the original PDF, what do you think the size was? Somebody emailed them a PDF. They need to put a cover page on it to send it to the court. Actually, they were sending it to the opposing counsel. The document came from the court. 425 kilobytes with a K. 400 kilobytes ballooned up to 34 megabytes just because this is our technique for adding a cover page at the beginning of the PDF. This is where, as a computer support technician, you move out of the realm of repairing hardware to how to use your computer effectively. I come across these kinds of misuse of computers and not aware of how to do things. This is the way they have been doing this for this office probably ever since they've moved to electronic transfer of documents. Maybe at least a decade, maybe approaching 2 decades. So then the rest of this time slip provided an alternative method where the cover sheet can be pre-appended to the original PDF using www.ilovepdf.com to produce a total file size of 625 kilobytes. Now, I will be having a conversation with them about using this website for free, uploading their legal documents to it, that some people are going to be concerned about privacy issues there. I Love PDF. I have looked at their procedures about privacy. They are reasonable, but still, it is uploading to a website. So we can look at other alternatives, but this is just a starting point. Now, this user is not the boss of the office. She's not the one to make authorizations. And this user gets very flustered with, and she says this herself. I'm not throwing her under the bus. She does not like changes in procedures. When I proposed showing her a different technique, I told her I could show you a technique that's going to be a whole lot better and easier for you to do instead of printing out all those pages. And she said, "Oh, I don't like change." And then eventually she decided, she said, "Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do that." I did not push it on her. So then the rest of this time slip, trained so-and-so person for the full process, including how to publish the
Read chat,
WordPerfect
please.
cover sheet as a PDF file. So part of this had to be publishing that cover sheet. They use WordPerfect, not Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word, you can save it as a PDF. That would have been a little bit easier. In WordPerfect, it's a separate menu option on the file menu. Instead of printing to PDF, there's an option called Publish. You have to publish to PDF and then put in a file name. And it's not hard to do. Most of you are saying, "Oh, okay." You got a document on screen, go to the file menu, choose Publish, choose PDF, and easy peasy. Rand Israel saying he uses PDF split and merge to handle PDF files locally. Yeah, I have that set up on another client's office with PDF split and merge, I think.
Read chat please.
Yeah, okay. Don't they have a copy of Adobe Acrobat? They do. And this particular person does as well. However, the document is already in WordPerfect. They create the cover sheet in WordPerfect. For me to move that process over to Adobe Acrobat does not make sense. They do not create documents in Adobe Acrobat. They use Adobe Acrobat for editing already existing PDF files. So that would have been more of a training process to use Adobe Acrobat Standard. And only 2 people in the office have a license for Adobe Acrobat Standard. The third what do they call it? The third person that processes at this level, not law clerk, not lawyer, the person that is almost a lawyer or assistant to a lawyer. There's a name for them. I don't remember. Yeah, that would have been more of a training curve. She already does the cover sheets in WordPerfect. Much easier training to just publish it. It's just one separate menu option. So the thing I thought was going to blow your socks off for some of you is that the method for putting a cover sheet at the beginning of a 92-page document is to print the entire 92 pages and then put that extra sheet of paper. When I realized that that's what they were doing, I had to use some self-control in my reaction. I really haven't had any feedback from anybody how you feel about me doing these time slips. I think I would love to hear somebody else talking about what they're actually doing with their clients. And I haven't seen any other topics come up. But well, you haven't given me a read chat for it anyway. Then next one. Oh, back to the computer that wasn't booting. Oh, there was when I was on the phone with the client, the computer had given the message about the date and time not correct. Excuse me. And there was something about it performing a BIOS reset or suspicion that it had. So one of my suspicions was that the BIOS reset might have changed the drive type from RAID to AHCI or vice versa. Remember, it's a Dell laptop. So I had that conversation with the AI, and we suspected that might be the case. So the next time slip here says, from 2:03 to 2:29 p.m., this is lab work, perform BIOS setup change from AHCI to RAID, because that's what I found it to be set at. So I changed it to RAID. Successfully booted to Windows, because that's a common setting on Dell laptops to be RAID. And they do that for Optane needs RAID. And even on computers, Dell computers that don't have Optane, they still seem to have stuck with RAID. So I thought that it probably was supposed to be on RAID. Turned out to be wrong. Oh, wait a minute. No, it turned out to be right. Successfully booted to Windows. Okay, yeah. Change HCI to RAID. Successfully booted to Windows. Changed OneDrive to save space instead of keep on this drive. Her OneDrive was set to keep all files on this drive. So I changed it to the save space setting. That was instantly going to free up a ton of space. Determine check disk is needed to fix file system corruption after OneDrive finishes processing changes related to save space configuration. Yeah, I think that was OneDrive that actually gave me that notification saying there's a problem with this drive. You need to run check disk. So I began check disk with C:/F/X, and that's the end of that time slip. Then this not only is providing information to my client to understand, wow, this is really technical. No, I couldn't have done this stuff myself. Yes, I don't understand what this means, but I know I can ask Doug to explain any of these. They never do. And it gives me the capability of looking at their invoice at a later date to see, what did I do back then? What did I have to do with this issue in case an issue comes up again? The next time slip, still on Tuesday, 31 minutes, and this is regarding the new computer installed for the bookkeeper. Remotely restored Fab's auto backup to the new computer. I performed a backup from the old computer. Now I'm restoring it to the new computer. Performed after restore distribution of logs. What? Oh, performed after restore distribution of logs. That's a little bit cryptic. That's just cleaning up the log files from the Fab's auto backup restore. Downloaded and installed ScanSnap home software. Downloaded Brother full feature driver package. I was able to determine the old computer had the full feature package, so I just installed the full feature package. There's a little bit of ambiguity in this office about who uses this computer, and a little bit of lack of my access to those individuals, because there are 3 individuals that use this computer maybe once a week. And what work is each of them doing? You know, the people I was talking to weren't really sure. So my decision was to configure the new computer as closely as possible to what's on the old computer, and I did do some clarifications along the way that I think you'll hear some about. Next time slip. Back to the laptop booting problem, lab work. Still on Tuesday, 45 minutes, 2:45 p.m. to 4 p.m. Move the obsolete PST file back to its original location. I don't think I made a note of this in a previous time slip, but when I had booted to the Macrium Reflect flash drive, I wanted to free up some space because it was very, very little space. Remember, so little space, the computer wouldn't even boot up. So I wanted to find something that was pretty large. I found a 45 megabyte PST file. I think that's right. Size that hadn't been touched for a year and a half. The date was that old. So I moved it to my external hard drive where I had the backup images. So it instantly free up that much space, because I think its current free space was 1 megabyte or less. So freeing up 45 megabytes was a reasonably significant improvement with just one moving operation. So this was a note that I moved it back. I wound up concluding that's not needed at all. I could have deleted it. Examined check disk log, finding it confirmed repairs made successfully. Created new image backup on internal M partition and on my external backup drive. This computer has its storage drive split into 2 partitions. At this time, this bit me in the butt. If I had not done that, she would not have run out of space at this point. However, I have explained to her the purpose of that second partition. And when I spoke with her about that issue during this incident, she wound up deciding to keep that M partition. That is making image backups of the C drive on the M partition, which is on the same physical media. So there's only certain types of things this protects against. This does not protect against physical damage to that NVMe drive. Of the things that could go wrong, that's fairly rare. This does protect against damage to the operating system on the C drive. I can very easily recover from the M drive, which is what I always call the second partition, M for macro and reflect. And that has saved the day far more often than any other backup technique that I use. That is the way that has saved the day. Well, because the C drive was so full, those backups have been failing for a while because the C drive was just too large to fit one full image on the M drive and then differential backups in addition to that. So by changing OneDrive to save space, that's what fixes there. Now, because we have the OneDrive, that is another form of backup. I don't care how much people argue against. That is not a real backup. That is not a sufficient backup, yes, but it is a form of backup. And I have also recovered from OneDrive many, many, many times for individually damaged or lost files and folders. Okay. They're all tools. Learn your tools, learn what they're good for, learn what they're not good for. You need to learn that a open-end wrench is not good to use as a hammer. Some people do that. Same thing's true with a pipe wrench. Not a good hammer. There's a little bit of knowledge for how to effectively use a pipe wrench. Still on Tuesday, 1 hour 27, 4:48 p.m. to 6:15 p.m. Hang on a moment. Okay, stop hanging on. Delivered repaired laptop to home. Attempted to configure sbcglobal.net email account on new Outlook app on Android phone. Successful. However, the inbox did not populate, and it is unclear if it will. There could be a delay triggered due to the incorrect password attempts. She didn't have a correct password. And I have found that some accounts will lock out due to invalid password attempts and not tell you that. We wound up resetting her password successfully using her computer, but still could not get it operational on the cell phone for the new Outlook.
Read chat, please.
Next line. Jim, cover your ears. You don't want to hear this part. Jim. Configured Yahoo Mail app, the actual Yahoo Mail app. We installed it on our phone and configured it in lieu of the new Outlook app. She wanted to use the new Outlook app on her phone, couldn't really specify why. We wound up using the new Yahoo Mail app on the phone. When we look at the inbox, we see a few emails, advertisement, few emails, advertisement, few emails, advertisement. So I said, let's give it a couple days and see if new Outlook starts populating the inbox. It might. Maybe after a few days, Yahoo might decide that you're okay, because it was a Yahoo Mail account, not a Microsoft Mail account. And so that takes a little different method of configuring the new Yahoo app on the phone. That last read chat. John Downey says, I thought OneDrive is sufficient to save your data. Yes, it is good to save your data. However, there are some caveats to that. We say that it's not a valid backup because it does not back up the operating system. When we say the word backup, we are referring to backing up operating system and applications and data. Yes, OneDrive is a very effective backup for data. When that could cause you a problem is in the case of a cryptocurrency, or not cryptocurrency, crypto malware that encrypts your hard drive and has the capability of encrypting anything that's attached to your computer, including OneDrive. Now, however, when the encryption takes place for your currently active data on your computer, that will synchronize to OneDrive, but I might stand corrected on this, but I'm pretty sure that the previous copies of those data files, the older generation of those data files, are immutable. They will not be infected by that encryption. That only will save the day in the sense that it lets you get to the prior versions of your data files, not your most recent files. Now, what about the data files that have not been changed in 5 years, or have not been changed ever since you activated OneDrive? There won't be any prior versions of those files. So in the event of a crypto virus infection on your computer, OneDrive's not going to save the day for you. Or maybe it'll save the day in a very limited way. But that is rather difficult to go get those prior versions of every file that you care about. I don't think there is a easy way to tell OneDrive that you want all of the prior versions and none of the current versions. How would you go about that? So that's why that can be argued against. No, it's not a valid, it's not the only backup that you should have. So I always want to have image backups as well. And preferably immutable. Now, the free version of Macrium Reflect, I don't think is immutable. No, because you can delete that file, you can change the name of it, which means a crypto virus could scramble that file. So that's where, to really be backed up properly, excuse me, if you want to protect against that possible scenario, you have to also have offline backups, where you make backups and then disconnect them from the computer. And then to protect against the scenario where your home gets destroyed by an act of nature, or your office gets destroyed by an act of nature, you have to always have one of those offline backups that's disconnected from the computer off-site, stored at another location. However, one method to accommodate that would be your online backups. So that's where your data backed up through OneDrive would be a protection for your data if your home or office gets destroyed by an act of nature. You got your data there in the cloud. If you have a full image backup online, which I have for some of my clients through MagnusBox, then you have that as a form of backup. So it's all about, what are you trying to protect against? Some of you know that your home insurance has exceptions, and you can pay for additional riders, RIDERS, additional coverage for your house. In my area in Central California, additional rider is available for, I think, flooding. And I don't think I have flood insurance here in middle of San Joaquin Valley. The likelihood of flood damage is very, very low, particularly since I'm not in a low spot within my community. Also, I don't think I have tornado coverage. So those are, I think, exceptions in my policy. I'm probably not saying it quite right. So with backup, there's all kind of different kinds of ways that you could suffer consequences. And it's all about protecting against the consequences that you want to protect against. Okay. Wednesday. Finally moved out of Tuesday. Got 25 minutes left. Thinking, contemplating. We've already done some AI stretching your understanding of what could be done. How much further do I have? It's not bad. This is back to the new computer being installed for a bookkeeper in an office. 9 a.m. to 10:50 a.m. So 1 hour, 50 minutes. Resumed work to configure. Oh, by the way, some of these times when I give you a time range, if I give you a time range and I tell you the number of hours, sometimes those numbers might not match because I will put in a start time and an end time for lab work. But if I know that that lab work was interrupted, because of computer processing time, I don't charge them for the computer processing time in my lab work. So I'll put in what's called a break, which is where I can type in a number of minutes that was not spent on this task. And what happens is QuickBooks Online does the calculation and gives me the total amount of billable time, which might be less than when you do the math for what I tell you the start time and the end time is. In this case, I think it matches. Resumed work to configure remote PC for the new bookkeeper computer, because they use remote PC to connect remotely. Retrieved new email password. In order to do that, I have to use the master account, which is the business owner's account. I connect remotely to his computer to access his email. Well, he uses Comcast. He uses the Comcast web interface. I told him during this last week, if you get a prompt about upgrading to Yahoo, you should decline it. In fact, it's his computer where I became aware of this. The email to me came later from my account. Yeah, it was his account where I became aware of this. Yeah, because he uses the webmail interface, and I don't think he's going to like the Yahoo interface. So the password I had for his account wasn't working. So he always enters his password. He doesn't have his computer remember the password. So he gave me the revised password. I have full authorization from him to use his email account when I need to, because we use it for two-factor authentication for a few things. Installed remote PC host mode on this new computer. Installed Adobe Acrobat Reader. Copied 3 additional folders that were on the root drive of the old computer. I did not include those in Fab's Auto Backup because that's kind of slow to do. So I copied it through the network. Configured one of the remote users. I configured her home computer. Now I cannot connect to her home computer unattended. So I had to call her and have her initiate the remote connection. So I don't set up unattended remote on people's personal home computers. They have to initiate the connection. And I needed to configure her computer to connect to the new office computer. I reviewed, confirmed usage with her to give her a little orientation to the new computer. It was very similar looking, but a little different because Fab's Auto Backup is very similar looking. And I asked her some questions about the other people that used the computer, got a little more clarification. Discovered discrepancy in QuickBooks desktop version. Oh yeah, because I installed QuickBooks Desktop Pro, the subscription version, on the new bookkeeper computer. And when I did that, it automatically installed the current subscription version, whereas the other two computers were using 1 year obsolete. And I didn't realize that when we tried to open one of the company files to test to be sure it was working before she has to do it on her own, we found a message saying, this file needs to be upgraded and your other computers that work on this need to be upgraded to the new version. We said, no, we don't do that, because they have 8 different company files that they use. If we upgrade this company file and then upgrade the other computers, then we're also going to have to upgrade all 8 company files and coordinate with the other people who use QuickBooks Desktop. This business owner actually has 8 different companies that he owns and runs from this, well, not only from this office, but another office as well. So we made the determination to revert this computer, the new computer, back to the 2023 version of QuickBooks Pro Desktop instead of the current version, which is called 2024, even though it's currently 2026. Their most current version is 2024. Verified the payroll bookmark is functional. I didn't even know about this payroll system called Auris. I didn't know anybody was doing payroll from this computer. Turns out, yeah, there's a person who is a relative of the computer, comes in for about an hour and a half or 2 hours once a week to process payroll. And so we were able to find that bookmark and verify that it still works. And that happened because Fab's Auto Backup moved all of the existing bookmarks over. And then this new computer, I had set up a Windows local account with a password. Previously, the old computer did not have a password. I needed to put a password on it because I was going to copy files through the network from the old computer to the new computer. Windows local networking does not allow for you to share a drive that does not have a password on it unless you jump through the extra hoops of turning off that feature. There's a way of doing it. I learned that through watching Carrie Holzman's channel. And how to do that? Well, it was easier for me to just put a password on it for the time being. So I temporarily had a password on it. When I put that password on it, I wasn't sure if we were going to wind up taking it off or not. When I discovered that there were at least 3 other people using it, I decided, okay, we'll go ahead and take it off and let it operate without a password. In part because the rest of their security posture is so far not up to snuff that for now, I decided not to deal with that whole issue now. Eventually, we're probably going to tighten up their security. On the upside, this office is an internal office that only a small number of people have the key to. So that's a protection they do have in place. I uninstalled the QuickBooks Pro 2024 using Revo Uninstaller Pro Portable. I'm using that just about every opportunity I have. It's so quick and easy to do, it saves time, and it does a more thorough job. Still very happy with that purchase. I'm just glancing to see if anything jumps out at me at chat. And it didn't. I didn't look very well. Ooh, what's this? I just discovered something about QuickBooks Online. When I'm looking at my time slips, I can't show this screen to you because there's client names all over the place. But I see this time slips in a little window, and you hear me sometimes struggling reading it. Well, I just discovered there's one of those in the bottom right corner of that text window. there's those 3 angled lines. Put the mouse on it, drag, and I can make that window larger so I can see all of it without having to scroll through it. How cool is that? Oh, Doug's so easy to be impressed or pleased. Wednesday, 15 minutes, 11:37 to 12:12 p.m. That's one of those instances where that's more than 15 minutes, but there was a break. Installed QuickBooks Pro Desktop 2023, configured and activated for that bookkeeping computer. Then still on Wednesday for that same bookkeeping computer, 2:20 to 3:53 p.m., an hour and 33, on site with that bookkeeping computer. I moved the connections from the monitor, mouse, keyboard, and printer, ScanSnap, and USB memory stick from the old computer to the new computer. Kept the old computer connected and powered on for the possibility of misconfiguration issues or files, and to provide quick referential access. Encountered and resolved issues with the printer and ScanSnap. Reviewed operational needs and tested functionality with one of those, the staff member that does the payroll. I timed this so that I was in the office doing this final changeover to the new computer. I'm doing that just before the payroll person who comes in once a week was expected to be there. I wanted to meet her. I wanted to give her an orientation, and that worked out perfectly. Made preference adjustments for efficient ScanSnap flow because the way the default method of ScanSnap was not what she was accustomed to. So we made those preferential adjustments. Had to do with what screen automatically opens up, with default save location, and a couple other things. So it was really good. Also clarified that she does not use the printer for scanning. Also clarified that ScanSnap issue. When I discovered it, it was not working with the new computer. It was not because of a problem with the new computer. There was something wrong with the ScanSnap device itself. I did not know at that time whether she was doing scans with ScanSnap or with the printer. They were both scanners. Turned out there was a piece of paper torn off that was partially covering the sensor in the ScanSnap device. But as far as I knew, that thing might have been defective for a long period of time. So I focused my attention on that device and got it working. Had I not tested that, I could have left and that would have been a callback. There were a few things. If I had left without being able to interact with her, I would have had a callback. So she worked on it on Wednesday, and I explained to her, look, I made sure she had my phone number, made sure she was comfortable. Look, you can call me. Anything, I can connect remotely. It's easy to do. This has the boss's approval. And so she thank you. I appreciate that. The very genuine expression there. I told her, look, a changeover like this, particularly with the method we had to use with this computer, it's not unusual for us to have missed something. I have not had one single callback from this office. Nothing at all was missed. Good boy, Dougie. I'm just saying this to brag about myself. I'm saying this trying to encourage people to use techniques that are likely going to minimize being called back for further work, whether remote or on site, trying to cover all the bases. Then Friday, 22 minutes from 2:47 p.m. to 3:07 p.m., picked up old computer for lab work migration, this computer here, Now we're picking that one up. And had a conversation with the client. That's why it took 22 minutes instead of 10 minutes. I also check over when I pick up a computer, I check over what's connected to it. And I take pictures. So I have pictures of all the devices. I know even what ports they were connected into. Discovered that there were two Logitech USB transceivers, the kind that are universal, which we probably only need one, because I've had it before where they buy a mouse, they put in transceiver, they buy a keyboard. They're both Logitech. They both have the same kind of transceiver. Usually they will work off of the same transceiver without having to configure it at all. I take pictures of the model of the printer so I can download and install that software. Then the next time slip, Friday, 5 minutes, lab work. Began the image backup on that computer. 5 minutes, start the image backup to external media. And then I restored the image to this B-Link computer right here. Last night, I imported the drivers this morning. I haven't made the time slips yet for this. And I finished the Windows 11 upgrade right over there on that screen. Right over there on that screen during this show. That Windows 11 upgrade was occurring during this show. I started just before the show. Haven't put that time slip in yet. 12:51. I'm going to show you something new I did with AI today. A realization. Oh, I can do this. I use the AI to document my work, not only assist me and walk me through it, but it
Read chat, please.
documents my work. Zavi Manor says, Gardener's Weekend. I don't have a clue what you're trying to communicate to me with that. And gardeners come to your house this weekend? I have no idea what you're trying to say to me. Yeah, so this computer that I'm doing this migration on, roses on the desk is what he says. I went out to, it's hard to point to them. See, that's not real. That's a virtual image. I just pasted that image on. You don't know that that's real. You've seen me put things there, imagery there. So you don't know if that's real until I pick it up. 5 minutes before showtime, I went out in the front yard and cut those. I got them in my front yard. I might as well use them. Okay, so let me see here. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, I'll show this. So this is this upgrade that I was doing. The next step, Windows 11 in-place upgrade. So that was shortly before showtime. Since the device drivers are injected, OEM bloatware is removed, legacy LogMe and rescue calling card is eradicated, and you are holding off on the remaining OS optimizations. Your lab environment is fully prepped for OS migration. Your immediate next action is to execute Windows 11 in-place upgrade, mount your fresh Windows 11 ISO directly within the Windows 10 environment, run setup.exe to perform the in-place upgrade. Once the upgrade finishes, new OS is seated. You will need to validate Microsoft 365 profile authentications, reapply virtualization, power tweaks that Windows 11 likely overwrote. You'll be ready to pack up the B-Link for on-site deployment. Now, here's what I wanted to show you. Let's see how I'm going to prompt for this next step. I'm making it do something for me that I got a little kick out of, and I'm enjoying it. So let's see. Give me a well, you know what? I usually dictate this, so I'm going to dictate it. Give me a list for processing the Microsoft 365 profile work. And press enter. It better behave on this. This chat has been idle for a while. It better remember what it's supposed to do. Now I'm using the pro version. You see down here on the chat line, if you're using a free version, I don't think you have that available, which causes it to take a little bit longer. So the thing that I told it to do earlier in this chat, I said on air, every time you respond to one of my prompts, I want you to put in the current date and time. Because this is a way for me to be able to scroll back and find something that I know I've done earlier in the chat session. And this is just so useful for me. And it's a way for me to go back and see what I've already done and see some detail about what did I do this piece and that step back then. When I'm finished with this and say, well, have a log of everything, I'm going to tell it to give me a list of everything that was done for this migration. And I've had many times, I used to do that manually in Microsoft OneNote. So it has been very useful down the road to be able to look back, did I do such and such on that computer? And I have a record of it. I very much like documentation. That is a thing that I am good with, good about, and I think really has paid off for me. It does cause some tasks to take longer to do. My evaluation of that is a professional way to go about it, and I am charging my clients my time. So some people might argue that, well, you could charge your clients less if you didn't do all that. True, you could charge clients less by doing a less professional job. It's a matter of perspective, and that is my perspective. Somebody else can choose a different perspective, that's fine. But the reason why I have this channel is for putting out there what I have learned to do and how I go about it. And if it doesn't matter, it can still be beneficial to other solo IT pros, whether you're solo or not, it doesn't matter so much. But it can be useful to you to at least consider the subject and make your own choice. And it's my hope that that will become useful to people. Greg M. used free versions of AI, $30 a month for Gemini Pro is not worth it for me. The money that I spend that gives me Gemini Pro, it's actually more than that. I never did choose to pay more for Gemini Pro. I have a workplace, Google Workspace, Google something for workplaces that is a package that covers a lot of things. There's my my domain, my email is hosted there. It's a custom domain. It includes my YouTube Premium. I think it's all paid through one package. So I never did actually say, I'm going to pay $30 a month for Gemini Pro. Knowing what I know now, I probably would. It's a tool. And I use it many times every day, which I think makes me an unusual user of AI. And many times I'm revisiting chats that have already started. So here's 2 from today. Here's 3 from yesterday. April 15th, 1, 2, 3. April 14th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Many of these chats I spent a lot of time on during those days. And that's all this first list goes to. Wow, there's 1 o'clock. That's I think I'll call that a wrap. Let's see how what my new chat screen looks like. So you're going to see this develop. Is it scroll? Yeah, it scrolls. My testing in this, I didn't have a full screen worth of chat messages. So now when I hold down my Stream Deck button, it doesn't keep going. I have to press each one. So you're going to see some improvements to this before this becomes my live way of interacting with chat. But I think it's going to get rid of some of the pain points we have. Yeah, I know I'm not the only one that has pain points with that. Here's the email address. You can send a story about something that you worked on or problem that you're having I can address during the show. And have a great weekend, everybody. I will catch you later. Goodbye.
That's all, folks.
Tune in, days a week for Windows support, the help you seek. Send an email, leave a comment, join the chat. Our tech-savvy crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community, helping you solve tech mysteries. With friends who are here almost every day, we love to chat and help you find your way. So subscribe now, be part of the team. For Windows support and more than you dream. Join the fun, don't miss a single stream. At LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts or simply where tech support supreme. Where tech support supreme. Tune in, days a week for Windows support, the help you seek. Send an email, leave a comment, join the chat. Our tech-savvy crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community, helping you solve tech mysteries.